Here's a situation where a couple split up. Dad is paying mom child support. Dad expects that the money that dad pays to mom for child support is going to be used by the mother to appropriately care for the child. So what happens in a situation where the father sees the children and sees that the money that the mom is otherwise collecting in child support, she's not using for the children, she's diverting for other causes. So that's a situation where the father could certainly ask for proof as to where the money is going. If there is a question about the mother's ability to properly parent the children, and dad says, look, you know what, I'm paying child support, but I don't see mom holding up her side of the bargain, this may very well be something that goes back to the topic of custody. Maybe father is in a better position to provide for the children. You have some serious reservations about the way that your ex is caring for the children. You should certainly consider writing her a letter or an email, somehow communicating in some formal way so that you have proof of it. And in the event that this is an ongoing problem and the children really are suffering, either they're not being properly clothed or fed or cared for, and this becomes something evident either in the school report cards, or if the children are involved in any sort of behavioral issues at school that would involve a school counselor, possibly even a Children's Aid Society counselor. If it's well documented, what you're saying is that the children are not well cared for by the mother, and she's just using the money and dissipating it on her own, for her own causes and her own reasons, then this is a situation where you could certainly consider bringing this case back in front of a judge and saying, look, judge, the kids would be better off living with me and have her pay me child support because I'm the more responsible and reliable parent, and I would certainly not allow what the kids have been experiencing to happen if they were in my care. So this goes back to what we talked about before, Dan, which is the subject of custody.
Right.
And custody is where the children live and who makes all the major decisions regarding the children. And if one parent is behaving in an irresponsible way, then a judge, a family court judge, would examine the situation and decide which is the parent best equipped to care for the kids. The kids are going to school every day. If they don't have packed lunches, if their clothes are holey and torn and in tattered condition, it's not only obvious to their dad, it's obvious to the teachers.
Yeah.
And these are the sort of things that teachers will comment on, if not put into their own reports.
Yeah.
And this is the sort of issue that they obviously don't have a good relationship post-separation. She obviously is not using those funds appropriately, and I think this is a situation that Robert would want to consider bringing to the attention of a family court judge and say, look, judge, custody needs to be re-examined because it's simply not working. The person who has been given the responsibility isn't carrying their weight. When people split up, they were living under one roof prior to that. They were sharing all the expenses prior to that. And then now, typically the same amount of income has to be divided between two homes. There's not a lot of money going around.
Mm-hmm.
And the amount of child support that under the federal guidelines, a person who has to pay support is dictated to pay certainly isn't sufficient income for the person who is receiving the money to cover all of the children's bills.
Mm-hmm.
You know, on an average income of about $30,000 a year for two children, the non-custodial parent, the person paying child support, roughly pays about $450 a month for the two children. That's about $225 a month per child. Anybody that's got two children, certainly into their early teens or mid-teens, knows that that doesn't go very far. $225 is barely $10 a day.